Welcome back to Einstein Media Center, your one-stop shop for all unnecessary media dissection. Today, we are joined by a very special guest as always. Please give a big thank you to punk band hailing all the way from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Family Man. How you guys doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Can you just go around, introduce yourselves?
For sure. Yeah. I'm Connor. I do vocals and guitar.
Brian, drums.
Otherwise known as Bobo.
Bobo, yeah. I'm Josh. I play guitar.
That's scary Josh.
Yeah. I'm Griffin. I'm known as Griffin. I also play guitar.
And
I'm also Josh. I play bass.
otherwise known as Gronk.
I love it.
We
Nice.
gotta, those two Joshes, it gets confusing for us even. So yeah. Yeah, and then that's who we are. And then yeah.
Nice. Okay, so can you talk a little bit about the origins of the band? I know you guys have been at it for a little bit now, and talk a little bit about that formation, and then what's brought you up to making music now in 2025.
For sure. We've had a very up and down, not up and down, but just kind of slithering, existence up until this point here. But it started, I've been playing, Griffin, Brian, and I have been playing together in various different projects for about 9 years now.
Yeah, we all moved to Montreal around 8-9 years ago. We met in university and we formed one band, and then that kind of evolved into Family Man in another way.
It kind of evolved. It's
Kind of evolved, yeah.
the crazy dramatic nights, and then we became Family.
Yeah. But essentially, we've had a variety of different kind of lineups over the past years. But like this kind of outfit, this version of Family Man, this solid version has been around since
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
We were doing kind of like more poppy, more indie stuff earlier, and yeah, we really kind of like changed our sound and became who we are as a band now around 3-ish years ago.
Yeah. And to that end, like the reason why we had this big shift in sound was because we always played as though we were in a hardcore band, but imagine us playing like little indie pop tunes, but like thrashing around on stage. Yeah. And at a certain point, we finally go, why not we just do what we want to do, so that's how that evolution kind of came to be. And then Griffin actually left for a couple of years, moved down to Australia, which that was what it was, and we needed a bass player, and we tried out some folks, and then ended up landing on Josh here, who's just a lovely human being, and just our rock. He's our rock. He's the rock of the band,
He's
like Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
He's our Gronk.
Yeah. And then he's our Gronk. And then Josh came in through Brian, other Josh, scary Josh, came in through Brian because they play in a noise rock or noise punk noise band. Yeah. And Josh actually saw us. To date, we played our biggest show at that point, and it was at Club Soda Montreal. It's like 1,000-person room, and it was completely sold out. We were doing it was like a cover band night, and we were opening, but we were still we were super stoked because it was the biggest show we played. And Josh stumbled in after an undisclosed amount of beers, and watches us play and goes, "Oh, I could do that," and that's how Josh joined.
And guess what? He could do that.
He could do it.
He still does it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we came to be.
That shift from that indie art pop, indie rock kind of style to this very interesting mix of like punk and industrial and hardcore and metal. It sounds like that's what you wanted to play. Can you speak to like some of the either music that has inspired that shift in sound for you guys, or if there was anything else that inspired that maybe more aggressive direction you ended up taking.
Yeah, I mean, like, like I said before, we all came from like different backgrounds of music at varying degrees of heaviness, so to speak, right? Like Brian used to play in a bunch of like old school hardcore punk bands in high school. I was in like hard rock to screamo bands. You were in like metal bands, right? Like
in the metal band.
yeah, like a metalcore. Like what would
We
you call it?
call ourselves deathcore, but I just cringe when I say it now. But it is a genre, and that's cool. Just like felt like high school kids just trying to be tough, but it was pretty heavy.
Yeah, Josh was thrown down with the deathcore crowd there for a bit, and then again, Scary Josh was like a Dillinger Escape Plan before any of us knew what that was. We're like, yeah, Scary Josh. I shouldn't speak for you, but
It's true.
it's true. There you go. And then Griffin's always been like
Midwest emo, indie rock land for the most part for me.
yeah. And so like we came from all these weird different backgrounds, and then when we first started going, we were like, oh, we want to write something that's a bit more approachable. But then again, we just didn't know how to play that on stage. Like we didn't know how to do that live.
We would always get the comment where people are like, oh, I heard you guys on Spotify or whatnot, and they're like, you guys sound extremely different. Like, why do you guys play like a punk band? We were hoping to see like Weezer 2.0 or like some power pop equivalent, and we're like, look, this is the only way we know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the older we got, we just kind of made the decision. I was like, well, let's start writing music like we listen to, and to music like the way that we want to play it.
Yeah. So and like as far as influences go on Iconoclast, like Ditz is one that was really speaking to me at the time. Like loved that band. Obviously Idols, like they everybody was listening to them. We get that. Like I've heard that a bunch, and I like wish Joe Talbot here. I'll take it. But so was listening to them quite a bit, but at the same time I was also listening to like Knocked Loose and Gojira, and I was getting into that like really heavier side of things. So by the time we were done writing Iconoclast, I had my taste had evolved into some more even heavier stuff. But then I like, that being said, I also love like the Beatles and the Beach Boys and stuff like that. So in a lot of these new songs, you'll find typically in the bridges, because I don't know if I can say that. I'm freaking so predictable. With whenever I'm writing a bridge or something, it takes a very melodic and like harmonically rich turn. So yeah, like that was my experience with that. And then these guys throw all of their taste.
The song structure is very Tootsie Roll with like a hard exterior and a soft gooey center.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to say too, when I got off the plane back from Australia here in Montreal, I think it was the next day. I think I got off the plane and I was supposed to like ride the bus back to hometown for a little bit, spend time with family. And then he was like, or you could stay another night and you could watch Knocked Loose, Speed,
and Show Me the Body.
And there was one other. But
yeah.
Anyway,
it's crazy. That was good.
He was like, you could watch that, and I was like, all right, not knowing what any of it was. And they started playing it in the car over. I was like, whoa. And then he was like, this is the program now, buddy.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but the way like the writing typically works is I'll come forward with the inklings of an idea, and then we'll sit down and basically just tear it apart. Everybody will throw their input into it, and like our motto is no bad ideas, no hurt feelings. And that's how we kind of come to the conclusion of what the song should be. So once again, we get all these like, crazy references. Like we'll be in the studio and Josh will go, yeah, there's that swans bit that we've got going. And I'm like, I don't hear swans in this, but sure thing, man, and yeah, so we're a little all over the place on that.
So It does reflect in your music. Like, obviously, I could hear the Idols influence. It's pretty front and center. But like I said, there's clearly a lot of metal influence. I hear like industrial elements in Iconoclast. But one thing I also recognize, and I feel like this might be reminiscent of the like indie pop days, is there's always, even though everything is heavy and things may not be as accessible for the average listener, there seems to be like a big focus on making a song that still sounds good. And a song like Tomatoes comes to mind. Like, there's still like an earworm, a hook. Is that something you're focusing on despite actively making more aggressive and like, less easy listening, so to speak?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I still, it's funny. We've got, it's kind of broken up perfectly right now here too. Like, obviously Josh really loves heavier music and was in deathcore bands and all, but I'd say like these two over here typically love like melodic music, and that's the kind of like, or more melodic music, and that's the influence they bring to the band. Whereas these guys, they're in a noise band, they love that like noisier, more out there element.
I like it harsh.
Yeah, like it harsh. And
often fighting to pull it one way or the other.
Yeah, and then so like I try to be the filter through all of that, which, not to position myself as like the filter, but like that's kind of how it acts. It's like, okay, we can lean in, like this is good here to lean into the harshness and the noise, and then melody, more something more melodic lends itself better here. And I think that's how things kind of gel together and work the way they do. And that is like, ultimately we still want to write a song that like is something that somebody who is into a Dillinger Escape Plan or a Swans or something like that can appreciate, but somebody who's into a more accessible band could also be like, oh, I really dig that. Like we do want folks to, we want to bridge that gap, so just like proverbial gap, right?
Yeah, the beauty of having that push and pull is that Connor will come in and curate it very finely tuned, and I feel like it becomes, even though we're all working together, I've always preferred working with a captain than in a committee kind of thing. Like, everyone has their roles, and I think it's really cool to have a very strong direction.
Yeah, but I think like it's, given how like we've spent, so even though we've really only been in this kind of lineup for 2.5 years, 3 years, we've spent so much of those 2.5, 3 years together that I think everybody has kind of like, we're getting to a point now where when we write, it's just, oh yeah, I think of that too, and I think of this too, and everybody's just kind of bouncing the ideas that we all like off of each other.
I've seen this guy behind a laptop go like, I'm gonna write a part that I think he'd write.
Yeah. So yeah.
Iconoclast is a very cohesive album. You guys like have a very unique sound, and it really ran throughout the entire album. And I think it was really important to make it like an interesting listen for the listener. This is hot off, I guess, 2 days off of your most recent single, Overload. So can we talk a little bit about the last 3 singles you've released? Was the writing process really any different as compared to Iconoclast? And maybe can we just dive into like some of the inspirations or themes behind these last few singles that just came out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Obviously these are different from Iconoclast, right? And I think our overall psyche into going into this next release was going to be, we want to take, Brian said it perfectly recently. He goes, it's a maximalist family man summer, right? We want to take the extremes of Iconoclast and then push them farther, right? So we want to take the heavy aspect of Iconoclast and go heavier, and then we also want to take that melodic aspect of Iconoclast and go even farther with that. And I think Overload is actually like a great example of that. We're using incredibly dissonant guitar parts, and then we have this kind of release of a pretty classic like chorus, and then once again the bridge is like these very pretty swirling guitar parts, mixed with a very sweet vocal delivery that was very very much intentional. And in terms of that, like going off on the maximalist aspect of these tunes, as far as the writing process on these ones go, very similar to Iconoclast in the sense that like I came forward with an idea, we all parsed it apart, or like tore it apart and then stitched it back together. We also were working with a new label out in Toronto called Division 11, and they're like, when I say new label, they're new to us and new to the world, like very new label. But we're working with Mark and Lexi on their label team as producers, and they're like genius. It was wild working with them. Mark, for example, like leveled his house, built 140 feet or whatever, underground, made this huge studio down there that you have to take like an elevator in his house to get down to. And he's just like this total nerd. And I don't mean like nerd in the nicest way possible. Like this guy's a freak of nature and he's awesome. And Lexi as well, when it comes to like melody and structure of songs and whatnot. So getting to work with them in that way where we had this kind of external opinion was awesome. And the other thing too about working with them is that obviously we're a heavier guitar based band. They've produced bands like us before, but their expertise really is in like the pop world and more like electronic music world. So getting to work with them in that sense and having that influence in there and that kind of structure, I think makes the songs very coherent, at least more coherent than they were when we were demoing them, right? But so that was just, yeah, that was cool. And with all that, the meaning behind this release, or what this overall release is talking about is kind of coming to terms with the mortality of life. Like around COVID, I'm American. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I moved to Montreal. I was stuck here during COVID, couldn't go back home. And then so I missed out on a couple of years of seeing my family. I had a very weird relationship with them prior to that. Like still, they were fantastic parents. But as anybody has growing up, like it gets very complicated. So return post COVID, and I visibly am like, holy shit, you guys are older. And my relationship with them has only gotten better since then. But it's just, it doesn't mean, and I still live in Montreal, so I get to see them not nearly as often as I would like. And so it's kind of like coming to terms with the fact that, okay, we're not around forever. And yeah, it's so Overload is the anger of that. I cried into his hands is the realization of this, and that song is actually, I think, my favorite lyrically of this entire release, because it's me having a conversation with my younger self, and telling him that the expectations that my current self, or he thinks what the expectations my younger self thinks my current self would have of him are just wrong. And going through that motion, and I'm just rambling at this point now, but yeah, like it's about death. It's about death, Eric. That's what it's about.
Mortality of life.
The mortality of life. So I feel like lyrically that's a bit of a departure from Iconoclast, and I just want to hear about, like, what is it like to get into that more like micro and personal headspace as compared to talking about like worldly ills, I suppose.
Yeah. It's tough. like a lot of Iconoclast was me, you know, here's something that makes me angry. And it's actually, all of it is about very deeply personal, unique experiences that I had. But I went on the expansionary side of things, where I tried to make it about broader things. And now I'm doing the exact reverse, where, like, you know, like I cried into his hands. I make a reference in there. Don't let me take your giving tree. It was the best gift from your dad. That was a book my dad used to read to me every night when I was growing up. And so, like, that's a super individual, personal thing. But I'm trying to make that song about these conversations that I was having with myself when I was younger, about, you know, masculinity and about my parents. And yeah, so it's tough. Like, it's definitely tough. But ultimately it's like, it's what's been on my mind. And that's why I want to talk about it. And I still want it to be relatable. And I still want folks to come to their own understanding and conclusion of what I'm saying. But that's, if you want to examine what I mean about it, that's what I mean about it. Do with that what you will.
So for the rest of you guys, knowing that the lyrical writing is taking a bit of a different direction, how have you tried to reflect that in the writing of your instrumentation? Has that been like something you focused on, or is it still just trying to make like just maximalist Family Man?
I think maximalist overall. I think, yeah, it's just kind of been maximalist. It was like, Connor and I had that conversation way back when, and it was like, well, let's just do everything from Iconoclast, but amplify it, you know, like really crank it to a million. In terms of like thinking of the lyrics, I wouldn't say as much lyrics, like especially this time around, because they're so personal to Connor. Like we do, like when we're in the studio and we're actually recording vocals, like, yeah, we'll sit and we'll maybe like kind of fine tune certain wordings and stuff like that. But it is very, very personal to Connor. So we kind of like the music we'll all tackle together. Lyrics that's mainly him. You know?
And to be honest, like I don't think we write in. I don't think this is conventional for most bands, but the songs are written first, and then I write the lyrics to the song, to the tune. Mm-hmm. That's just how I've always done it. It's easier for me that way. I am always writing down ideas so that I like, but it's like one or two lines here, you know, and then once I have a song in front of me, I will pick out one or two lines that I like and then build from there.
But to compare the writing experience from like Iconoclast to this group of songs, like Iconoclast, because, you know, we're talking about like themes of anger and sexuality, masculinity, in a kind of more broad sense. It's a little bit easier for us to kind of like jump in, give our 2 cents, shape the structure of the words and such. Whereas with this, Connor's talking about like, you know, either trauma from his youth or, you know, like the growth of that. I'm not about to come in and be like, actually, yeah, Connor, your parents do suck. Like,
and they don't. They're fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's definitely, for these songs, it was kind of like, well, once he started kind of like pumping out the first like lines and the first lyrics, is like, hey, you know what? This is all you, buddy. I'm not gonna involve myself in these ones.
Yeah, and as the band, I think it's like important for us more in the performance to sell the catharsis and the conviction of this when it's something so personal.
Yeah.
Conviction.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nice. I think that's really well said. So with all this, you keep saying, you know, this upcoming release, can you speak a little bit about what that release is going to be and maybe when fans can expect more music coming down the road?
Sure, we might be able to speak to that a little bit. No, okay. Yeah, obviously, like we've been dropping some singles. Our plans with this have expanded from the original idea. Woohoo, maximalist, Family Man summer. But yeah, thank you. So there definitely will be more releases throughout the fall, and there will be a much larger release in the spring of next year. That's what I'll say. That's where I'll leave it there. But yeah, April of next year there'll be a significant there will be an LP, so to speak. So that's there's your, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. There you go.
It takes so long to put together a larger release with, you know, this with the material being so personal. Does it ever become like, I don't want to say exhausting, but like I feel like it would kind of drive me crazy without being able to put it out as soon as possible. Do you ever get either like sick of the material that you're holding on to, or just very antsy to get it out into the world?
I just want to say a word about like the whole pipeline of marketing the music. It does suck, and as an artist, you're constantly struggling between the art side and the commerce side. That's like been the same for a long time. But you know, you need to be able to push that release and give it its proper due.
Yep.
But it is true that the weight,
Yeah,
is an insanely crushing feeling of when you've had the song written long prior to when you actually record it, and then the song is released way after.
Yeah.
And the band, through all that time, individually and as a group, we're all evolving in different ways. And yeah, sometimes when the song comes out, you're like, I am kind of sick of this song.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it happens quite often. And,
Yeah.
I believe that's been your experience with the past releases as well, especially with the transition, making that much more like evident.
Mhm.
Right, you know, when half of our set was like indie pop tunes and the other half was like, whoa.
Yeah,
It was like quite jarring.
Yeah.
Even like just how you felt about it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's totally a thing, and
Well, it's funny that you say that too, and it's funny that you asked this question, because like I think for Iconoclast, we definitely felt that way because it was our first time releasing an album, like doing the thing. And so people had told me, oh, it's painful to wait, and you got to be ready for that. You got to get, you know, this setup and this setup and this setup, all to make it worth it. And going through that for the first time is like, nobody told me it was going to suck this much. Like all of that, like waiting, you know, it's like, I wanted out, like we've done all this work to this point. Shouldn't this be enough to release this? And what I understand now is that it's not about just being enough to release it. It's like, you've put all this work into writing and recording this music. Why don't you want to do all this extra work to make sure it actually gets heard and does what you want it to do, as far as being able to, you know, play more shows like that ultimately that's what we want to do. We're a live band. That's our strongest point, is we just go batshit on stage. And then you know, if you're not setting your releases up to like open up more touring opportunities or whatever, you're missing out on that whole piece. So I think overall we're much more patient now when it comes to that, and like making sure that the album is going to function the way we want it to function on the commerce side is not as important, but very important, you know, in relation to the creative side of things. So I don't know if that answers your question. You know,
We work too hard to be trigger happy with our releases.
yeah, basically that's it. Yeah.
Long story short.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really like mature answer. I think that paints it in like a lot better light, because I don't think I'm like I said, probably mature enough to be that patient, but I respect that makes a lot of sense.
It's a balancing act, right? Like it's tough.
So with that, you said you like being a live band. You feel like that's a really strong point for you guys. Probably a selling point is getting people to those live shows. With the release not coming out for quite some time now, what are we looking at for shows or tours coming down the pipeline for the remainder of 2025?
Yeah. So 2025 has been a very interesting year show wise. I'm actually not sure if you're aware of this, but bands that are not in the United States have a very difficult time touring in the United States because of your B2, B1 visa process, or because of I should say, because I am an American.
The
P1,
P1,
P2.
we get the B1, B2 as Canadians automatically, I think, but the P1, P2 is something else.
You get it.
So much looking into it recently.
But yeah, so we'd actually had a entire nationwide tour set up. The issue is venues that are not, 600 capacity, 900 capacity and up are not booking far enough out in advance for you to get your visa in on time for it to be processed before you need to come down to do the tour. And so the issue with that is then you got to pay a rush fee on top of that, which for Canadians is quite expensive, like restrictively expensive. And then on top of that, there's a lot of uncertainty with tariffs right now, so that eats into your ability to pay for gas and pay for your hotel. Like your merch gets tariffed, all that stuff. So unfortunately we had to postpone that. But with that being said, we are tutoring through the eastern part of Canada at the fall this year, and we're coming out the gate swinging next year with a European tour planned as well as a Canadian-US tour planned. But the Canadian-US tour will most likely be taking place in the fall of next year, where Europe we're going in the spring of next year. And we'll be all around, baby. We'll be all out there. So there you go.
We're coming.
Yeah, we're coming.
So is this going to be your first European tour as a group together?
With this specific lineup, as a Griffin, yes.
We did do we did a European tour last May.
And it was awesome. It was so much fun. We toured through Europe. We toured Iconoclast through Europe, and we learned so much. We learned a lot. There were many learning experiences on that tour. Like Brian got mugged in Belgium.
Yeah, let's do a top 5 shitty things that happened.
Yeah. Top 5, man.
No,
Top
there were
50.
many, but just to be concise.
Oh no, that was for some ridiculous couple of days. Brian,
we dinged the rental.
but hold on. The mugging thing, I got it. So we were in the UK.
Light rail fall on us mid-song, hit Josh in the head
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, like a gaffing rail. But that those 2-3 days, we fly from London to Lyon. The day before we leave, Brian's trying to trim up his hair and messed up the trimmer, and it goes down to a 0. So he has to shave his entire head. And then
next thing you know, we have 2 bald guys now.
Yeah, you can never have 2. You can have 2 Joshes, but not 2 bald guys.
Don't want that.
We hop on a plane the next morning at 4:00 in the morning to go over to France. We get to France. British Airways has lost Brian's bag and sent it back to Montreal instead of Germany, where we were going to be next. Of course, all of our cables are in that bag. So we're scrambling to find cables before the show. We play this show. We get on a train the following day, and we got to get from Lyon, which is in the center of France, up to Belgium the following day to play. And we just barely make the next train. I mean, I'm screaming at a band member who speaks French in the metro because we had to transfer through the metro with all of our gear, crawling over the turnstiles and everything.
Yeah, in the Paris metro, the doors for regular people are made for the most skinny people I've ever seen.
For European-sized people, yeah.
And we're struggling to get through the door. I remember Josh was locked in. We're trying to pull him through, and the cops kind of
the cops are watching us. Yeah.
And as we get through, we look and notice on the other side there are family-sized gates to
Yeah.
get in.
Yeah.
But by then it was far too late.
Yeah.
So continue.
And so then we get onto the train. We get to Brussels. Awesome show, awesome venue, except mid-show, that gaffing rail with the lights, mid-song comes down, and I'm playing, and I'm why the hell did the drum stop?
Yeah.
And I'm
Turns around and it's just sitting in my lap.
no, but before that happened, I was gonna get so pissed. I'm what is going on right now? Why is everything falling apart? I'm ready to blow a gasket, and I turn around and I'm oh no, my entire band almost just nearly died.
The gasket been blown.
Yeah, so we stop. Get the lights off us. I kind of
the last 15 seconds.
yeah,
of the song.
yeah. We ended up playing the last 15 seconds of the song. Great show, great time. Josh and I go to bed. Brian and other Josh are still out and about. I wake up in the morning. Brian has been mugged in an alleyway, his phone stolen. So mind you, Brian has no clothes, no phone,
And
bald
no-
now,
and no
hair. They're like all within a 72-hour period. Yeah, and then Josh also showed up with like no hair at another point in Bulgaria after we were held at gunpoint in the airport by like it was crazy. Big learning
A
experience.
lot
So
of
much fun.
learning, big learning curve in Europe.
Yeah. But we're going back and we know what to do, what to fix this time. So
I'm glad they didn't scare you off. You know, after all that, I'd be like, I might be throwing in the towel on Europe.
it's that European charm, man. They'll get you back.
Were there any specific countries or cities that you played in Europe that you're really excited to get back to?
Anywhere in Germany.
Yeah,
Berlin.
Berlin.
Berlin, Hamburg was sick.
Yeah, that venue that we played at in Hamburg, I don't even know.
It's
if
still around.
It's
It's still
open.
around.
Molotov.
Molotov in
Yeah.
Hamburg was awesome.
They were trying to close it down, and there were protests to keep it open.
Yeah,
It
'cause,
was, like
I mean,
a
it's-
staple.
The Beatles played there. Like literally everybody's played there.
Nice.
But Germany, like pretty much anywhere in Europe, they really treat musicians well. Like they treat it as if it's your job because it is. So they pay you accordingly, or if they can't pay you in money,
They'll cook you lasagna.
we had great lasagna one day. But yeah, like they feed you,
Extremely
they put you up.
hospitable. It was very sick.
In Germany in particular, it was just like, oh, we have an entire fridge full of beers just for us. Okay, this is great, you know. But yeah, and then also Bristol. Like Bristol was an awesome city in the UK to play. So definitely stoked to get back there and stoked to go check out more countries. Like this is going to be definitely more of a boondoggle as far as like hitting more places. So yeah, very, very excited to check out some new spots too.
I just have a very vivid memory of arriving in Bristol, the first stop on our European tour, and we immediately go to the Coyote Ugly, possibly the most American, European restaurant.
Yeah.
We ordered some like hamburgers and Budweiser or something.
Yeah. We learned.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit about, I know you all kind of moved, it sounds like, to Montreal. Can you talk a little bit about how the scene is for punk and, music and heavy music in general? How is it being based out of Montreal?
It's another level here, but specifically in Montreal. Like Montreal, the people come out for shows, people support bands, people go nuts. Like
it's a city of artists, like by artists for artists.
Yeah.
So everyone is extremely supportive, very enthusiastic, regardless of what genre or background you come from. It's really, really fantastic. Something that I really appreciate too about Montreal culture that is really beneficial to us is moshing culture. Something that we didn't really realize how blessed we were when we went to Europe and Germany, for example, where heavy music is really popular, but you'll be playing your hardest song and it'll be a sea of heads not moving. And they'll come up and they'll thank you afterwards and say, that was fantastic. Wow, really good. But they didn't move an inch the entire set. Whereas in Montreal, I mean, it could be a jazz show and people are still throwing elbows and slam dancing the whole time. So
yeah,
absolutely adore that about Montreal.
and I feel like it's similar in the States too. Like I think mosh culture and just like, I guess mosh culture in North America is different than it is in Europe. Like there's definitely places like the UK, we mosh pits everywhere. Like everywhere we went. Germany, different. It's just like different culture depending on where you go, right? Obviously, it makes sense. But we're very, very lucky to be from here. I think the one difficulty of not just being from Montreal but being a Canadian band is it is hard to like break out down south and get down there because the touring is difficult. So that is definitely something that pushes Canadian bands towards Europe, for example, because it is way less restrictive there to play. But obviously, like, and then the other thing too is we've got 2 major cities within Canada within 7 hours of us. And then beyond that, it's a 14-hour drive if you want to get anywhere else. So it's like it's tough to tour because we've done the Canadian tour too, and it's like,
And the 14-hour drive is not a major city either. Like
it's like Halifax,
The next major city
which
is-
would love Halifax. It's
3
awesome.
days away to get to Vancouver. You're like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, so it's that there's some logistical like hurdles from being from Montreal and being from Canada, but it's just like the community and the scene here makes up for it. So yeah,
Nice. That's really great. That's
Yeah.
great.
we're lucky.
So I only have like a few questions left. But going back to the new music that's coming out, do you have any and there's a question for all of you. Do you have any songs that you're particularly excited about releasing, whether for it's the theme, a new sound, just how like heavy and aggressive it is? Like, do each of you have like a personal favorite that's coming down the pipeline?
I think for me, lyrically, my favorite song is "I Cried Into His Hands." I think my favorite song that I'm excited for to come out
Is the next one. Myself at least.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's one that is it's going to be the largest undertaking that we've ever done, like musically. It's
Okay, we are talking about it. Okay,
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Yeah, it's 3.5 songs strung together. It's technically one 8.5-minute long song with strings and horns and total like dance section in it, and obviously just for marketability standpoint, we're going to have to break it up into songs because thank you Spotify and people's attention spans. But hey, no, I'm not complaining. But yeah, that one I am incredibly excited for. So that's my pick. I don't know.
I was gonna say the next single that we plan on dropping in September. Yeah. Screw it. I'm just gonna say the name. It's called "Death Has a Face." I'm extremely excited for that one. I think it is one of the catchiest hooks in a chorus that we've ever written. Really beautiful harmonies. It's really fun and dancey, also just like relentless and kind of ferocious in its intensity. And honestly, the most important part is that I get a little bit of a drum solo at the end, and that's all that really matters when we're talking about songs. Am I right, guys? Yeah. High five. Yeah, very, very excited for Death Has a Face, which is going to be coming out next month.
Even know the name.
I'd have to say Death Has a Face is. I'll have to say Death Has a Face as well. I think it's just the perfect synthesis of everything that we're going for. It's dissonant, it's catchy, fun to play. It's exciting. I'm stoked for it.
It's a good one.
Oh no, I said the one that you were talking about.
8-minute long song, which will
I know.
remain unnamed for now.
It's I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot in your ears, but I like it. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Yeah.
You go.
Shit, you guys came to me too fast. I'm trying to remember the name of the song. There's one really heavy song.
So it goes.
And so it goes.
Yeah,
Yes. That's the one I'm looking forward to. We kind of had to make some changes to it and arrange it while we were in Toronto recording. And I just have a vivid memory of being in the Airbnb, drinking a bunch of hard seltzers and trying to figure out the structure of the song. And I thought that was so fucking punk rock. We're all just like sitting around. It's like, okay, we got to record this tomorrow, guys. Like, we figured it out, and I feel like it turned out even heavier than we had anticipated.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that one.
Just very quickly to hear a little bit more about that 8-minute song you got going on. You said strings, horns. Can you speak about like how you got people to play on that? You know, did you just pull from people you know?
We actually, so this is not finished recording yet. But like as far as the demoing process of that goes, like I have plugins to be able to do that. That being said, we are looking into getting actual session players in for this. And then Lexi as well. She is a classically trained cellist and violinist, cellist or violinist, one of the two. So we like really lucked out there. Obviously, we got that built in, and so definitely going to try and keep this as live as possible. Albeit like again, recording music is expensive and tough and time consuming. And so we might, again, trying to keep this as live as possible.
I always end just asking, if I were to come travel to your city, before I leave, what is like the one restaurant or one type of food, whatever it is I would have to try before leaving?
Oh, buddy. I mean,
There's a bunch of answers. Montreal has a bunch of pretty like iconic spots.
see, here's the thing. It's not just Montreal. You're talking about Quebec here because you're based in North Carolina. So it's got to be poutine. It's got to be poutine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be poutine, or maybe Schwartz's.
Schwartz Deli.
Like
I mean-
Schwartz is if you want really, really nice smoked meats. But yeah, I feel like if you're coming to Quebec, it's got to be like poutine. You either like
La Banquise.
yeah, if you're in Montreal, you go to La Banquise, 24-hour poutine joint. If you want, just like a classic greasy diner experience, green spot. But honestly, like this might not be the best answer, but if you want like the authentic Quebecois experience, I'd say go to La Belle Province.
Yeah.
It's like it's a Quebecois chain, and you just go in. I want destiné all dressed, or petit poutine or something like that. You know,
Steamy, by the way, is a steamed hot dog.
That's it.
steamed,
They call it a
steamed
steam
hot
egg.
dog with onions and mustard, and then just a poutine. Like that's
$1 Canadian.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty damn good.
It's not a bad deal.
Food or just the experience otherwise.
Hey, I'm here for both.
Yeah, you should go have a PBR at the Thrash Can.
Yeah.
It's like the
Sure.
punk kind of underground squat venue, and they just always have great shows there. You kind of have to either know a few people that know where it is. I mean, you message us, we'll tell you.
DM for address.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ask a punk.
it's a great spot, and just enjoy a PBR and a cigarette there. I think that's fine.
Oh yeah,
That's
nice.
a good spot. Good spot for sure.
So that was really everything I had. With the last, minute or so left, what would you like to so kindly shill to the audience?
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. You can find us anywhere online with It's Family Man. I'm terrible at this. Brian's better at this.
Call your mother.
Yeah,
Tell her
yeah.
you love her.
Yeah.
You're looking at the #1 band in Canada. All the time, non-stop, around the clock. We rock harder than anybody else. Tune in and find out. Fuck around and find out. We're Family Man. Logging out.
Huge thank you to Family Man for coming by and chatting and everything. I love this band. They are so good. They make it's just that kind of music. It's like meant for somebody like me. I love the punk stuff. I love the heavy stuff. After talking to them and just hearing about all the different inspirations and where they're pulling from, it makes so much sense why I dig it. Shout out to my very good friend for putting me onto them. You're the man. Yeah, I mean, Brian said it best. Go listen to Family Man. And if you are in Canada, if you are in Montreal, please go see their show. They're great. They're a great band. And keep checking out for their new music. And if you've only heard some of the singles or whatever, listen to the singles, but also go listen to Iconoclast. That album rules. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. Do all the social media things for me. Subscribe, all that. Go listen to Family Man. And if you're a band, I'll interview you. Yeah. Yep, that's about it.